Hey everyone, it's another Wednesday. It's another time to have our Wednesday lunch and learn. It is about hydration health today. Last week we talked about sleep. This week we're talking about hydration health. You notice a little bit different setup than normal. I do apologize. I am in the great state of New Jersey, getting ready to hop on the highway, the New Jersey Turnpike, and wave to all my best friends in New Jersey and New York that are on the Turnpike. And if you're from here, you know what I'm talking about. As I travel down to PA to talk tonight to the great folks of the state of Pennsylvania. But today, I want to go through hydration health because it is something that we constantly compromise on. It's something that we unconsciously don't even think about as it applies to our goals and our objectives when we're trying to make healthy choices. So let's kind of jump right in. The first thing you need to understand when we're talking about hydration is, what does water actually do for you? Everything from regulating your body temperature to forming saliva for digestion to cognitive function to flushing out waste to lubricating our joints. I can't tell you how many times I talk to people that are always saying, my joints are stiff and I ache and I crack, and sometimes it is as simple as you are not hydrated the way you need to be. But the other main function is it's converting food into the components needed for survival. I mean, it literally is doing all of this wonderful stuff, but it's also one of the things that we don't get enough of. And one of the things I'm going to talk about today is where our hydration is actually coming from. So what is it? 60% of our body, on average, is made up of water. 60%. And if you look at the other bodily organs, 64% of our skin is water, 83% of our lungs, 73% of our heart, 73% of our brain, 92% of our blood. What does all of this mean? The numbers are there. You see them. You've heard them 1,000 times, but unless you actually understand how to put these things together and understand the importance of hydration, you can't ever really understand why it's so important. So the whole purpose of today is to kind of give you some ideas about hydration, the small little thing, grabbing that water bottle, mixing up your electrolyte drink, whatever it may be, making sure that you're consuming enough water, and watch what happens to your health. So let's dive a little bit deeper. 75% of Americans are dehydrated on a regular basis. 75%. In fact, if you're any type of an athlete, did you simply know that every time that you drop just a little bit, if your pace will slow down by 2% for every time you basically get to a dehydrated state. So you're in full performance mode. Everything is going fine in the world. You're topping out at your peak athletic performance level. You get dehydrated, and all of a sudden your performance level starts to dip. You start to go down. I can still remember the days back, way back when, yes, I am that old, when it used to be, if you drank water during practice, you were weak. The reality is we need it. 75% of our muscle is made up of water. The electrolyte replenishment is undoubtedly something that we need to talk about. But one of the other things is the symptoms of dehydration and the effects that it's having on people, and all the ill effects that it's having on people with regard to their health. So let's look at some interesting facts. Did you know that 1/3 of Americans' primary source of hydration comes from sugary beverages? 1/3 is coming from sugary beverages. That means there are, 33% of the population in the U.S. is waking up in the morning, and what they're doing is all they're drinking is the sodas, the sweet teas, the fruit drinks. What is this doing to us? Well, if you look at the average day, okay, just looking at the average day of this type of consumption, you have your orange juice in the morning. It's 110 calories. You have your Starbucks coffee, on your way to work. That mocha, not big deal. It's only 400 calories. You have that one soda because you cut back to only one a day, which obviously isn't 12 ounces anymore. Now it's 20. That's 280 calories. You only had one fruit drink today. That's 230. One sweet tea because, you had to have something with lunch. And then, of course, you had that one beer after work because, you have to stay social. And what ends up happening at the end of the day is you have consumed 1,370 calories simply by mindlessly drinking your calories. See, one of the things about hydration is there's this constant battle as to whether or not you can drink these things and remain hydrated? And the answer is yeah, you probably can, but it's also costing you in other areas. Let's talk about a myth. See, 8 glasses of water a day. Where did that come from? In reality, 1945, a nutritionist comes out and says, hey, I think you should be consuming about 2.5 liters of water per day. Somebody grabs onto it, and all of a sudden it becomes lore. And every single person in the world now believes that 8 glasses of water is, in fact, the exact amount that everyone needs. In reality, that couldn't be further from the truth. If you're a landscaper in South Texas in August, where it's 103 to 110 degrees outside, trust me when I say you need a lot more water than the office worker in New York during the winter. They're two different things. You need to understand what you need for your body. You need to appreciate and understand that hydration is the key to health. And more importantly, you need to listen to your body. And what I mean by listen to your body is some of the things we're going to go over today is we are going to talk about key signs of dehydration. We're going to show you some things that you typically associate with other things that could be simply solved by properly hydrating your body. So let's look at some of the signs of poor hydration. Being thirsty. Well, that one's easier. If you're thirstier than normal. You have that dry, sticky mouth. Yeah, we all know that one. Feeling tired. See, most people don't associate that feeling of tired in the morning or in the afternoon as dehydration, but in fact, dehydration has been linked to feeling tired. What about headaches? I can't tell you how many people, including myself, you wake up in the morning and you have that morning headache. And a lot of times it's weather change and you're thinking, I've got an allergy. When in reality, it very well may be that the reason why you have that headache is because you just went through your sleep phase when you're not drinking, you're not eating, and your body is saying, hey, I need water. I need you to hydrate me. I'm giving you a headache to give you the sign that I need you to give me something. And then, of course, you also need to pay attention to the color of your urine. I mean, if you have dark urine, it's a sign of poor hydration. That's not a good thing. You want to make sure you're keeping close tabs on that. So what are the stages of dehydration? Stage 1 is mild dehydration. This is where you're going to get, thirst. You're going to have the dry, cracking lips. It's the inside of the mouth is slightly dry, or you're going to have that low urine output. You're just not going to the restroom that often. Unfortunately, we blow by this almost every day. I can't tell you how many people that when they have those dry, cracked lips, what's the first thing we reach for? Oh yeah, we go reach for the lip balm and other things to put moisture into our lips. We're not listening to our body. See, our body is telling us, give me more hydration. I need more water. This is my warning sign to you. Do something for me. Give me what I need. But unfortunately, people aren't listening because what we have done is we've created Band-Aids in our society to give people something to take care of an issue as opposed to getting to the root cause. So listen to your body. If you have any of these things, try increasing your hydration and see what happens. Now let's get into moderate dehydration. Now this is where we're beyond the thirst and now we're very dry mouth. You start having the sunken eyes. You know who I'm talking about. When you can see people that they look tired. They look like they haven't slept the night before. Or they have, low or no urine output and they're not producing tears. It's kind of like it's really cold outside and the wind's hitting you in the eyes, but you normally tear up, but you're not. You're into moderate dehydration mode. And you need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, and more importantly, you're making sure that you're getting the hydration you need, because the reality is you should have water in your system at least every hour. And if you're not doing that, then you know that you're running the risk of and you notice I keep talking about water. I'm not talking about other things. I'm talking about water here. The body recognizes what water is and what to do with it. So let's get back to drinking water. I know a lot of people don't like the taste of water. And don't worry, I'll have something for you at the end to talk about that can take care of that taste issue if that really is your issue. But the thing is, we really need to watch if we're in this stage of dehydration, because if you get into the severe dehydration mode, it's a bad situation. See, severe dehydration, you have a rapid or weak pulse. Now you have cold hands and feet. See, contrary to popular belief, when you're dehydrated, you actually do get those cold feet and hands. If you have a person that's having that, watch out for dehydration. You have rapid breathing. You have blue lips. You have a lethargic, comatose, or possible even seizures. And of course, it could also require immediate hospitalization. The other thing, and we're going to talk about this, is when you get into severe dehydration mode, its effect on the body's organs and systems and other things that are happening to you. So let's jump into one other thing real quick. Interesting fact. How long can you live without How about food? Food is roughly about 30 days. Now, this is general. There have been people, obviously, that have lived longer than 30 days without food. But in general, you can live 30 days without food. What about water? Water is about 7 days. And that's at the outside. You know, a lot of facts and figures will tell you 3 days without water. But, you know, the human body is an interesting thing. But the outside, the most you can live without water is roughly about 7 days. Without sleep, it's only 4 to 5 days. You know, last week we talked about sleep, and most people don't appreciate or understand that, you know, lack of sleep can actually cause death. So, you know, we talked about that last week. But one other thing I had to mention, just because, you know, we've been traveling around the country, Logan and Daryl and Scott and myself, and we've been talking to, you know, thousands of people about what's going on in this country. And one of the things that has been evidently clear as when it comes to the internet, we can't live without about 15 minutes of it. And, you know, you laugh. I mean, they make commercials now about people who lose their internet and they're sending up flares and all kinds of other stuff. This is asinine to me that when the internet goes down, it is a bigger deal to people than when they are dehydrated and not getting enough fluid in their body. I mean, the world is coming to an end. So, you know, just an interesting little fact there about the internet. But what about the compound effect of dehydration? What ends up happening to us when this actually starts down the path? See, what happens is when we get 1.5% dehydrated, just 1.5% of our normal hydration level dips, we lose cognitive function, which means we can't focus. Okay, we have increased fatigue, which means we're tired. And then on top of that, we start getting headaches. You know anybody that has chronic headaches? Know anyone that you know, has every single day is having issues with headaches, and they're taking the Advils and the Tylenols and the other things of the world? We have to make sure that people understand and appreciate a lot of the issues regarding headaches and things of that nature may be as simple as identifying the fact that they're dehydrated. It very well may be, if we got their hydration to the right level, we might actually be able to avoid some of this. But what if we get past the 1.5%? What if we actually get down to 3%? Well, now all of a sudden we have fuzzy thinking. We have brain fog. We have a slower metabolism. You know, if we're in a phase where we're trying to, you know, watch our weight, and we're trying, you know, we have weight loss goals and things of that nature, we very well may be sabotaging what we're trying to do simply by not hydrating our body. You know, somebody who constantly is forgetting things in the afternoon. You know, they seem really sharp in the morning, everything's great and fine, but by the afternoon they seem to be forgetful or have that brain fog. A lot of times it's specifically related to their hydration level. So keep that in mind. But then let's talk about what happens if we let it get to 5%. See, a 5% drop, we have a 25 to 30% loss of energy. Our blood pressure rises and our joint pain and stiffness increases. Now I want to talk about that energy drop. See, because so many people, when they get into the afternoon especially, and they start losing their energy, what they start thinking is, oh, I need caffeine because I don't have any energy. And what they don't understand is caffeine's a diuretic. It's actually going to help pull hydration out of the body. But on top of that, what you're dealing with is a cycle that you can't get out of. See, you don't have energy because your body's not properly hydrated. It doesn't have the electrolytes it needs to function properly. So as a result, we put a Band-Aid on it by increasing our caffeine consumption in the afternoon. If we would just simply hydrate, replenish our electrolytes in the afternoon, boom, watch what happens to your natural energy levels. This is something we need to watch for, because unfortunately so many of us are now sitting behind a desk all the day and we're not having that water within reach. So as a result, we're 2 to 3 hours into the day working on something mindlessly, not paying attention to what's happening, and boom, all of a sudden we get into a dehydrated state, we lack energy, and we go down to the coffee machine. Make sure that people understand and appreciate sometimes it's as simple as grabbing a glass of water. Let's talk about heart health for a second, because I mentioned this a second ago. You know, dehydration results in higher blood pressure. Okay, so we've heard that. But why? See, because if you understand why, then you can talk to somebody who has heart disease, or you can talk to somebody who deals with high blood pressure, and you can explain to them something in a way that they will never forget it. See, blood is 92% water. When the body doesn't have the water it needs, the blood gets thick. When the blood gets thick, the pressure goes up. So anybody that suffers from heart disease, hydration is key to their health. You notice how I didn't talk about pills, potions, lotions. I'm not talking about those things. When you have somebody that you love, that you care about, or if you're talking about yourself, and you have a heart-related issue, hydration is ultra critical to you to make sure that you are keeping your blood in the proper hydrated state so that you can avoid unnecessary spikes in your blood pressure. So keep that in mind. One of the other things that nobody wants to talk about is constipation. Do you know more than 50% of women suffer with constipation quietly? And I say quietly because a lot of people don't want to talk about these types of things. They literally want to kind of keep it to themselves. But it is literally the leading cause of chronic constipation. Dehydration is the leading cause of chronic constipation. If you know somebody who suffers from this, or you yourself suffer from this, try drinking more water and see what happens. See, the body's organs and systems, especially its waste disposal system, yes, we actually have one built in. You don't need an artificial cleanse to make the body work. Just because you're constipated doesn't mean you need to do something artificial to make it work. No, what you have to do is feed the body what it needs so that it can do what it was designed to do. And one of those things that you can do is hydrate it properly, and watch what happens to your body's systems when you actually do this. It's an amazing thing, but make sure that you're hydrating properly, especially if you suffer from this or know anybody that does. Make sure you're helping them out and telling them what they need to do. You ever lost your train of thought at work? These are those afternoon people I was talking about earlier. Well, 75% of your brain is made up of water. See, as you dehydrate and the body's water system comes down, guess what? That brain isn't going to operate the way it was designed to operate at its optimal level. We have to make sure we're feeding the body's organs and systems what they need. The brain is one of those things. So, we can talk hydration all day long. I can tell you drink more water. What I'm trying to do here in this presentation is tell you why you need to. See, so many things we associate with other things. Mental fog, mental fatigue. We talk about how we didn't get enough sleep. We talk about constipation, and it has something to do with diet. We don't think about water and those types of things. If we talk about other things, we always try to give some other excuse. Headaches, well, it must be allergies. Hydration is a key factor in a lot of this stuff, so let's keep that in mind. Here's an interesting fact, especially if you have somebody that's elderly in your life, somebody who is older in years. As we age, our thirst desire decreases. Let me let that sit in for a second. As we age, our thirst desire decreases. It becomes uber critical because the other thing that happens when we age is disease states start to develop more readily. So people that are in this stage, all of a sudden the body's saying, drop the phone for a second. The body is saying, hey, I'm not as thirsty as I normally am, but I'm also, I'm also not feeling good. I'm not feeling well. My joints hurt. My arthritis is acting up. I, feel constipated. I have all of these issues when in reality, all we have to do is feed the body what it's asking for, even if we don't necessarily have that brain function saying that we need it. So if you know somebody that's a little bit up in the ears like I'm starting to get, I have to cognitively make myself drink water on a regular basis because my brain isn't sending that signal the way that it should. Skincare. Let's talk about this one for just a second because, next year there's going to be $11 billion spent on skincare products. $11 billion. I mean, you walk into any store and you see skincare. I mean, it's unreal, all the different choices and everything else. Well, you know what? I'm going to give you a top secret answer real quick. I am going to give you the absolute number one skincare product in the world. Without doubt, without argument, the number one skincare product in the world is proper hydration. That's it. Properly hydrate your body. See, so many people want to start from the outside rather than the inside. They don't want to feed the body what it needs to actually get it what it needs. What you have to do is actually basically water the body. We talk about watering plants and watering trees and watering our grass. Water the body, give it what it needs, and watch what happens to your skin. Your skin is the largest organ in your body. Make sure you are giving it what it's looking for. Ladies, if you're looking for the best skincare product in the world, it's simple. Give the body hydration with proper electrolyte replenishment and watch what happens. All right, so let's talk about sedentary lifestyle. Okay, Bennett, you've talked about all these wonderful things. You've told us what we're not doing. You've told us why, but I'm just not that active. I have a desk job. I basically go from my house to the car, to the office to the car to the house. I don't do much. Well, here's the reality. Even for those that are sedentary, we are losing a half to 1 gallon of fluid daily without any exercise. Without exercise, we're losing half to 1 gallon of fluid a day simply by just existing. It's funny how much you actually lose while you sleep. If you want to really mess yourself up, look how much you sweat during your sleep. It's crazy how much fluid you lose into your bed. Then let's talk about if you do exercise. See, because the average person, when they do exercise, is going to lose anywhere from 32 to 64 ounces per hour. Now, this becomes critical. And the reason why it becomes critical is because this is a place where a lot of people get into the dehydration system and they don't even understand it, because they're thinking their hydration is based upon a daily intake, but they don't take into consideration what's actually happening at the gym. Because see, to actually get what you're trying to in the gym, to actually get the results that you're looking for, I mean, you're spending, good hard time, money, effort, everything else. We want to make sure you're maximizing your efforts. We want to make sure that you're maintaining your hydration. Here's a warning, here's an alert for you. If you go to the gym and, you lose a pound during your workout, I hate to tell you, but you didn't just lose a pound of fat. In fact, what you just lost was a pound of hydration. You literally just lost a pound of water. So how do we replenish the body so that those muscles can basically be built? Because that's the whole reason why we're going in the first place. Let's do this. Let's weigh ourselves before we work out. This is just a baseline. We're going to find out where we are. Then we're going to weigh ourselves after our workout. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to drink 1.5 times the amount of weight loss in water. And what's going to happen is that's going to rehydrate our body. We're going to get back to the state that we need. Now, this is in addition to the other water that you need during the day. So if you're working out, this is how you actually get what you're looking for. These are the results. We got to feed the body what it needs. By the way, if you're mathematically challenged like my lovely bride, thank God she is, or we would have never met. Yes, I was her math tutor in college. Then here you go. Here's the formula. For every pound you lost, it's 16 ounces of water. So if you lost a pound during your 1-hour workout, hey, drink a bottle of water, rehydrate the body, get it going, get it into your system as fast as you can. Now you're ready to go. So you need to drink, remember, 1.5 times though. So if you lost a pound, you need that 1.5 bottles of water. So make sure you're getting what you need. But the idea here is making sure that you're getting the results in the gym since you're spending the time there. Now here's an interesting fact. The brain does not differentiate between hunger and thirst. It doesn't tell the difference. So when your body is signaling you that it's hungry or thirsty in your mind, the issue is it sends the same signal. So you don't really know which one it's sending. You don't know if it's food that you need or it's water that you need. And what's interesting, if you're grabbing the right types of food, guess what? There's plenty of water in them. If you see these things, you see the percentage of water that are in these foods, and they can properly hydrate the body. That's simple. That's easy. But what happens if you don't grab those types of foods? What if you're not grabbing those natural foods and you're grabbing the processed foods? See, the problem with processed foods is this. They are stripped of a lot of the moisture that naturally occurs in real food. But see, if your body doesn't differentiate between hunger and thirst, and you are actually thirsty, but you believe that you're hungry because that's the way you're reading the signal, and you grab processed food, how much processed food do you have to eat before that thirst is quenched? Now, I want you to think about that for half a second. I've now shown you why so many people overeat when in fact all they are is thirsty, is because the body is trying to get the hydration it needs because it sent a signal. We've misinterpreted the signal. And now what happens is we're in an overeating state because the body's trying to pull the hydration out of the food to properly hydrate itself. That's a cycle that we're in. That's something that's the biggest cause of obesity in this country. Well, let's look at our weight loss goals. Did you know 16 ounces of water before each meal will not only reduce how much you eat, but it'll also help maintain weight goals? 16 ounces, that's a bottle of water. So just before you are going to eat, right before your meal, if you'd simply just grab a bottle of water and drink that bottle of water, watch how it reduces the amount that you eat. The other thing you should know, the number one thing needed for digestion of food is oxygen. So let me make sure you heard that. The number one thing needed for digestion of food is oxygen. In other words, put the fork down between bites, take a couple of breaths, and grab the next one. You ever wondered why when you're at dinner parties and you're there with friends and you're eating and you look down and you notice you've only eaten half your food but you're full? It's because so many of us eat like we're in the military. You got 7 minutes, ready, set, go. Here we go. Fork never gets put down and we're just shoveling. If we would actually take our time, drink our water before, and actually take a breath in between bites, watch how less you eat. Watch how you get into a more healthy state. So simple little hack there to help you out. But here's something some research scientists found out that was really interesting. If you add simply 3 extra bottles of water per day, okay, just 3 bottles of water per day to your diet, okay, other than what you're currently doing, that is going to equal, on average, a loss of 5 pounds of fat per year. Okay, so one of the things we have just done is we have just shown you how to lose 5 pounds of fat per year by simply drinking more water. That should be mind-blowing for people. I don't know anybody who wouldn't want to lose 5 pounds. I don't know anybody that has struggled in a gym and other places to try to lose 5 pounds. The reality is it's slow, it's meticulous, but it's also easy. Just add some extra water to your diet and watch what happens. Your body will flush it out. That's part of what's going on. Let's talk about electrolytes for a second. See, because water is part of the process, but if you don't have electrolyte replenishment, guess what? Your body's not going to operate the way that it's intended to operate. And here we're talking about potassium, sodium, magnesium, all of your, there's a lot of others as well, but the whole idea behind electrolyte replenishment is trying to get your body refueled and ready to go. Unfortunately, when we get ready to do electrolyte replenishment, we look at these things. See, we look at the sugary sports drinks, and yes, I did white it out, but everyone knows what it is. 36 grams of sugar in each serving. Now, if you convert that 36 grams, divide it by 4, that's 9 servings of sugar in one thing. Now, parents, I'm going to talk to you for a second, okay, just real quick. Because these are the things that we're giving our kids. I want you to think about something. Every child should have no more than 6 servings of sugar a day. But every time they have a sporting event, we give them one of these before the event, we give them one of these after the event, and sometimes we're giving it to them during the event. So we have literally given them 3x the amount of sugar they should have in an entire day. And then what we do is we yell at them when we're driving in the car because they can't calm down. So yes, we've just given them 3x the amount of sugar they need, and we're also blaming them for not being able to calm down. We created the situation. Let's make sure that we prevent this in the future. There are better ideas. There are better things than that for you. And in fact, IdeaLife has come up with one. It's called Hydrate. 400 milligrams of electrolyte replenishment, no sugar, stevia sweetened, safe for all ages. I mean, it's packed with electrolytes. Everything your body needs to simply replenish, rehydrate, and not sabotage the goals that you have for yourself. I hope this has been beneficial to you. I really do. I hope you've gotten something out of the information today on hydration and its importance. I hope maybe we've explained some things as to some issues you may be suffering from, that from a hydration standpoint, we might literally just grab the water bottle as opposed to the over-the-counter or the prescription or one of the other things or one of the other Band-Aids that's out there. Maybe we're going to actually grab the water bottle and try that first and watch what happens to the body when we feed the body what it's asking for and it's actually doing what it needs to do. If you want to learn more about what's going on, our CEO does a Facebook Live every Monday night at 8:30. I highly encourage you to jump on and get involved. This next Tuesday, I'm going to be out in Fort Worth. Be back in my great state of Texas. I love New Jersey. I love Pennsylvania, but there ain't nothing like home. So for all the folks out there in Fort Worth, I'll be back with you next Tuesday night out there. As far as a big event coming up, something you might want to plug into is we have ID Revolution coming up April 20th through the 23rd. This is our national major event. You should really come. We have a lot of well-known speakers, a lot of well-known people that you want to hear from. Things that are going to be talked about there are unreal. And not only are you going to get product knowledge, not only are you going to hear from the SciMed board, but you're going to get leadership training. You're going to hear from our leaders. You're going to talk to people about nutrition, health, the state of this country, and more importantly, the lack of health of this country and why this movement that we call IdeaLife exists and what we're trying to accomplish with it. So we welcome you to take part and join us in Frisco, Texas, April 20th through the 23rd. Next week, same bat channel, same bat time, we are going to talk about to breakfast or not to breakfast. This is an age-long debate. Can I skip meals? Is breakfast really that important? Is it something that I really need? Is it okay to just, pass that up and wait till the afternoon when I'm really hungry? We're going to talk about some of that. We're going to talk about some scientific studies and other things that have been brought to the forefront with regard to coming out of the night sleep pattern and getting your food in the morning the way you need to. So next week, March 8th, 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, we're going to be back talking about this. Again, on behalf of myself, Mark Bennett here, and all the people of ID Life, I appreciate you joining today. I hope you got some value from it, and I look forward to speaking to you again next Wednesday at 11:30. Till then, thank you.